walking around and sitting with nothing to do. I could do with a whiskey and soda now very well, if only they had such things in this place.
Perhaps Vivi's got some.
Nonsense. What would a young girl like her be doing with such things? Never you mind. Doesn't matter. I do wonder how she spends her time here. I'd a good deal rather be in Vienna.
Let me take you there.
Oh, would you? You're a chip off the old block.
Like the governor,
Never you mind. What do you know about such things? You're only a boy.
Do come to Vienna with me. It'd be ever such larks.
No, thank you. Vienna is no place for you, at least. Not until you're a little older. Now look here, little boy. I know you through and through by your likeness to your father, better than you know yourself. Now don't you go taking any silly ideas into your head about me, do you hear?
Can't help it, my dear Mrs. Warren. It runs in the family.
There! I shouldn't have done that. I'm wicked. Never you mind, my dear, it's only a motherly kiss. Go and play with Vivi.
So I have.
What?
Vivi and I are ever such chums.
What do you mean? Now see here, I won't have any young scamp tampering with my little girl. Do you hear? I won't have it.
Don't you be alarmed, my dear Mrs. Warren. My intentions are honorable, ever so honorable. And besides, your little girl is jolly well able to take care of herself. She don't need looking after half as much as her mother. She ain't so handsome, you know.
Well, you have got a nice, healthy 2 inches of cheek all over you. I don't know where you got it. From your father, anyhow.
The gypsies, I presume.
The broom squires are far worse.
Well, what became of you two? And where's Pratty and Vivi?
Oh, they went up the hill. We went into town. I wanted to drink.
Well, they shouldn't stay out after dark like this. Frank, where are your manners? Get your father a chair. Now, George, where are you going to stay tonight? You can't stay here. And what's Pratty going to do?
Sam will put me up.
Oh, no doubt you've taken care of yourself. What about Pratty?
Don't know. He can stay in the village.
Haven't you room for him, Sam?
Well, you see, as rector here, I am not free to do as I like. What is Mr. Praed's social position?
Oh, he's all right. He's an architect. What an old stick in the mud you are, Sam.
Yes, Governor, he's all right. He built that place down in Wales for the Duke. Carnarvon Castle, they call it. You must have heard of it.
Oh, in that case, we should be only too happy. I suppose he knows the Duke personally?
Ever so intimately. We can stick him in Georgina's old room.
Well, that's settled. Now, if only those two would come in and let us have supper.
What harm are they doing you?
Well, harm or not, I don't like it.
Better not wait up for them, my dear Mrs. Warren. Pride will stay as long as possible. He has never before known what it is to stray over the heath on a hot summer night with my Vivi.
I say now, come, Frank. Once and for all, it's out of the question. Mrs. Warren will tell you it's not to be thought of.
Well, I don't know, Sam. The girl wants to get married. No good can come of keeping her unmarried.
But married to him? Your daughter to my son? Only think, Mrs. Warren, it's impossible.
Of course it's impossible. Don't be a fool, Kitty.
Why not? Isn't my daughter good enough for your son?
But my dear Mrs. Warren, you know the reasons.
I know no reasons. If you know any, you can tell them to the lad, or to the girl, or to your congregation, if you like.
You know perfectly well I couldn't tell anyone the reasons. But my boy will believe me that there are reasons.
Quite right, Dad, he will. But has your boy's conduct ever been influenced by your reasons? You can't marry her. That's all there is to it.
What have you got to do with it, pray?
Precisely what I was going to ask myself, in my own graceful fashion. I don't suppose you want her to marry a man younger than herself, and with no property or tuppence to keep her on. Ask Sam if you don't believe me. How much more money are you going to give him?
Not another penny. He's had his patrimony and he spent the last of it in July.
There. I told you. This is ever so mercenary. Do you suppose Miss Warren's going to marry for money if we love one another?
Thank you. Your love is a pretty cheap commodity, my lad. If you've no means of keeping a wife, that settles it. You can't have Hippy.
What do you say, Governor?
I agree with Mrs. Warren.
And good old Cross has already expressed his opinion. Look here, child. I'll take no cheek from you. And I'm so sorry to disappoint you, Cross, but you allowed yourself the liberty of speaking to me like a father a moment ago. One father is enough. Thank you.
Why, you coward!
I can't give my baby up, even for your sake, Mrs. Warren.
Young scamp!
And as you no doubt intend to hold out other prospects for her, I shall lose no time in putting my own case before her. He either fears his fate too much or his deserts are small, that dares not put it to the touch to gain or lose at all.
Wherever have you been, Biddy?
On the hill. Thought I lost you for a bit.
Well, you shouldn't stay out after dark like that. How could I tell what had become of you? And night coming on, too.
Now, about supper. We'll be rather crowded, I'm afraid.
Did you hear what I said, Biddy?
Yes. Now, how many are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 2 of us will have to wait. Mrs. Allison only has plates and knives for 4.
Oh, you needn't worry about me.
No, Mr. Preed, you've had a long walk and are hungry. You shall eat at once. I'm not hungry, but I shall want someone to wait with me. Frank, are you hungry?
Not the least in the world, completely off my peck, in fact.
Neither are you, George. You can wait.
Oh, hang it. I've had nothing since breakfast. Can't Sam do it?
Would you stop, my poor father?
Allow me to speak for myself, sir. I am perfectly willing to wait.
Nonsense, only 2 are wanted. Mr. Preed, will you take my mother in? Oh, be careful with your coat around the whitewash there. It's rather a tight fit. Ah, there we go. Now, are we all comfortable?
Quite, thank you.
Leave the door open, dearie. Oh, Lord, what a draft. You'd better shut it.
Aha, got rid of them. Well, Withams, what do you think of my governor?
He doesn't strike me as a particularly able person.
Well, you know, the old man's not altogether such a fool as he looks. And he was shoved into the church, rather, and in trying to live up to it, he makes a much greater ass of himself than he really is. I don't dislike him as much as you might expect. He means well. How do you think you'll get on with him?
I don't think my future will be very much concerned with any of that old set of my mother's, except perhaps Mr. Preed. Well, how do you think I shall get on with my mother?
Really and truly?
Yes, really and truly.
Well, she's ever so jolly. But she's rather a caution, isn't she? And Crofts, oh my eye, Crofts.
What a lot.
Oh, what a crew.
If I thought that I would be like them, with no wit, no character in me, shifting from one meal to the next, I'd open up an artery and bleed to death right here.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Why should they take any grind if they can afford not to? I wish I had their luck. No. What I envy is their form. It isn't a thing. It's slovenly. Ever so slovenly.
Do you think your form will be any better when you're as old as Cross if you don't work?
Of course I do. Ever so much better. Vivens mustn't lecture. Her little boy's incorrigible.
Off with you. Vivens is in no mood for hitting a little boy this evening.
How unkind.
Be serious. I'm serious.
Good. Let us talk learnedly, Miss Warren. Are you aware that all the most advanced thinkers are agreed that half the diseases of modern civilization are due to starvation of the affections of the young? Now
You are very tiresome. Have you any room for Frank in there? He's complaining of starvation.
Oh, yes, of course, dearie. There's room right beside me now.